And when Kamala Harris will run, do so much money, she
Welcome family to Community Cuts.
What is here?
We're at Brooklyn,
What is the
we're in
night?
Brooklyn, New York at
yeah, you go,
SALON
so
LEAHIng,
let them,
732 Washington Avenue between Prospect
Well, they're
Place
saying that.
and Park Place.
yeah,
What we're gonna talk about tonight is why are so many
all that money
in our community is so divided with this election that's coming. It is supposed to be a historic election. Why our community is so divided?
I
Captain,
know, right?
let's,
I never see something just,
let's talk
like
about
they just
that.
going.
I call it the Lego building.
To start with,
They already planned what it, the
the
layout.
black community was divided before the election,
What about
so
this
we can take that
property
into
that the
account.
guy sold and?
And
Remember they
I think too
cleaned it up
many,
and then it got right back.
well, too often, people think of the black community as some kind of monolith. Like we all move together, think together, and actually, we are, especially in the United States, have become a collective of the diaspora. There are people here that are Foundation Black Americans who have long histories here. There are naturalized citizens from generations ago with children who have been born here. And we have people coming in new from Africa, the Caribbean, South America. So I just think that just we have to have a healthy respect for our innate diversity. So even though we may experience ourselves as having the same roots, you know, it's been what, 500 years, 600 years, 700 years since people were brought to this continent from Africa. Some went to the Caribbean, some went to South America, some came here, some, I don't think anybody went to Canada. But then you also have the black community that believes themselves to be aboriginal to this continent. So, and then you have people with a diverse economic background. There are people here who have been able to be highly educated, and then there's other groups of us who are more skilled workers. We have people in every field, but there's diverse and sort of stratified economic bases. There are people who are still stuck in poverty. There are people who have been able to rise to the highest levels of business. There are business owners, and then there are workers. We have city workers, hospital workers. I just think it's important to understand how diverse we have become in this United States. And from my perspective, this is the problem with the Democratic Party. They don't understand or respect the fact that the black community is a very broad spectrum and diverse community. And even people have different ideologies and philosophies. Some people think of blackness as being unified by color. Other people think of blackness as being unified by culture. And so I think it would be kind of unrealistic to think that with this broad spectrum, we would be coming out with just one opinion politically or on anything really. So I think the problem with the Democratic Party, why it's running into trouble, isn't so much that the black community is divided, but that the Democratic Party wants to, in a manner of speaking, cajole, program, guilt Black people into supporting that particular party without having to give anything back, without having to answer for what people's needs are, without having to have ever given anything back. So we see our politicians every 4 or 2 years, however the elections fall, and then they disappear. And so I think what we've been presented with in this particular election is fear-mongering. We have to be so afraid of the big bad racist that we should run for cover to the Democratic Party. But what kind of cover is it? I don't see that the Democratic Party is doing anything for young people who are out of college and out of school and can't find work and working minimum wage and have these enormous debts to pay. I don't see them doing anything for, not really, for people who are retired. I don't see the Democratic Party providing any kind of health care to the community. So I think that some people see the truth, and some people see the truth but feel that they have some loyalty to the Democratic Party despite it having done nothing for Black people in this country. I don't know, since the 60s, the 70s, but since Clinton, it's been all about the Benjamins. It's all about the money.
You know what's so ironic? The last 16 years, the Democrats were in control 12 of the 16 years. And so when you look back for 12 years, what was done? What happened? Was there a progression in our communities? Was there more money coming into our communities? Our communities practically look the same as 12 years ago.
Well, only except that most of those communities, if you're thinking in terms of housing, which we don't have, are gentrified.
That's correct.
So, even in New York City, having been a Democratic state for many long years, most of my lifetime, I just feel that the Democratic Party itself has lost its way. And we have this situation where we have a president who isn't all there. So that leaves us to wonder who's actually running the government, who's actually making decisions. And we have a Congress that is bought and paid for by lobbyists, including the medical industrial complex, the military industrial complex, the Israeli industrial complex. Whoever has the most money to give, that's who the politicians actually work for. I mean, that's true for most parties. I'm not saying that the Republicans are good. But the Democrats have claimed to represent Black people, people of color, low-income people, and they haven't delivered. And I think that our current election has arrived at a point when there's so many people who are just seeing that they're not getting anything back. And so,
Yeah, I think that a lot of people, if I should say, they're starting to wake up. They're starting to come out of their slumber and ask questions. Before, no one asks questions. They continue to vote Democrat down the line, even if it's a person that they do not know in the ticket, they will vote for that person as long as they are Democrats. So we were a part of the go along, get along gang, but now people are beginning to get out the slumber. They're what you call woke, walking into that woke atmosphere and asking questions as well. Why or why not?
And I think there is a lot at stake here. I think that people are becoming more aware of foreign policy as a result of the situation in Gaza and the West Bank and the death of so many thousands of innocent people taking place. I mean, every day the numbers jump by 50, 100, 200. Now they're having war on both sides of Israel, in which the Israeli army is unable, it seems, to have an actual soldier-to-soldier war, but is rather just punishing the citizens. And our candidate now, Kamala Harris, I just saw in an interview today, said, well, we support Israel without question. I'm not saying that we shouldn't help the whole country, both countries, Palestine and Israel. But we're not doing that. And I think people are seeing that. They're understanding that the reason there's no money in our communities across the country is because all of our tax dollars are going into the war machines, be it Israel or
Ukraine?
Ukraine, yeah. And I think people are just tired of it. And our politicians, rather than listening, are sending out their militarized police forces to beat down those people who want to protest or speak up. And I just think we're approaching a crisis that's so much bigger than being divided over the Democratic Party. The problem is the Democratic Party has no answers. Some people see it, like you said, waking up, they see what's going on, and you can project forward that nothing is going to come from this election. Nobody's going to turn around and start caring about the communities and in this country. I mean, I'll give you an example, the difference. A lot of people are really angry at Russia for invading Ukraine. It's a long history, I'm not going to get into it here. But recently, Ukraine invaded Russia and the Kursk region of Russia. And what does the Russian government do? They bring together a council of people of how to provide for those Russian citizens that they had to pull out of that region. So they provided homes, they provided income, they provided schooling, they provided everything that the people need who are being displaced. So from my vantage point, that government, however one might think of the war, is looking out for its own people. The United States doesn't do that. When we had that big disaster in Hawaii, people are still homeless. None of those people have been taken care of. We have this huge homeless population. Nobody's taking care of them. We have a tremendous health crisis in this country right now. Nobody cares at the upper level. So I just think that people are understanding the uselessness of our politicians and having someone at the top that you can check all the boxes. Oh, it's a woman. Oh, it's a woman who's brown skin, black person, East Asian person represents a certain community, but does she really? Who does she really represent? She represents the elite. And so when you choose to vote based on a person's identity, that means that they don't have to make any promises to you. That means that we're not extracting any promises. It's like, oh, we'll just vote and go on business as usual. So I don't really see it as a divide. Like you said, I see it as coming to our senses.
What I see, what I'm going to ask Community Cuts community to, we're not telling you who to vote for. You know, you vote for the person that's in your heart, who you believe in. We're not telling you not to or to vote. What we're saying to you is have some consciousness and allow your vote to be, if you're going to vote, vote from the spirit of your heart. Whichever way your heart, your spirit is within you that's telling you, be mindful of your spirit. You may have to check your spirit to see that it is actually saying what it's saying. But just be mindful. Vote from your heart. And be cognizant of what you hear. Don't believe everything that you hear. If you can research. You may not get the correct answer because everything goes into a search engine that someone puts it in. But just be mindful with who you are and be mindful that you are the one that you've been waiting for. You, Community Cuts family, you are the one that you've been waiting for. And so go out there, but just go out there in your own spirit, your mind, and do what you need to do. We here from Brooklyn, New York, and there's a lot of things that's happening in our great city. We're seeing migrants everywhere. We're seeing, homicide. We're seeing a lot of stuff that I don't even want to talk about because it just brings on negative energy. But yes, there's a lot of stuff that's happening, a lot of things that's happening in our great city here in New York City. And I'm sure probably it's happening in the West as well, in the Midwest as well. But whatever you do, just be mindful if you're going to vote, be mindful with your vote. And vote from the Spirit, vote from within. God is within you. Your grace is hearing from the Most High God. And your faith is also about love. So whatever you do it from within, not outside. What I mean by not outside, you're not going to look at MSNBC or CNN or any of the national networks and say, okay, this is it. No, it's not it. Go within and tap into the God that's within you to let you know who or not. But tap into the God that's within you, because the Most High God lives within you. His temple, everything is within you. So tap inside and get the answers that you need to go forward. Catherine?
Yeah, that's always good advice. I believe in that. And, there are a lot of sources. You could look at, there's a lot of alternative media. You can research the medias of different countries to see what's really going on from different vantage points. And really think about maybe as we move towards the election, those of us who feel ourselves in community with each other can find ways to hold our representatives accountable. And I think going forward, that's what we need to do the most. Because I also feel very spiritual, but I think when I see, like you said, You don't wanna talk about the negative energy. Is that your phone? Um, I mean, coming here, I pass migrant families sitting on the street with their children asking for food and money. And that's on top of the homeless people that are out there. And when I think of my family who are suffering with illnesses, especially after the COVID crisis, I think we have to put up some kind of a fight on behalf of people in need, who really, really need the help, not just of our politicians, but of all of us, so that they can survive through the winter. And I think that's part of what we should bring into the equation.
Yeah, and for the, for the Community Cuts family and the family at large is out there in the world, continue to pray, especially getting closer to the election. We're going to need prayers to just navigate us in this place here in the United States of America.
And I would add to that courage.
Yeah, courage and, don't walk in fear, walk in love. And, this is a time that we have to put on a big man, whatever you call the big man, whatever. But this is the time that we have to start walking in our space and time and being confident of who we are as a person, as a human being, as a God that's within us. So be confident and start to walk in your grace. Your grace is what's going to take you forward. Your grace is connected to your faith. So I say to my family, our family, our national family as well, just continue to walk and continue to pray. And again, we're not telling you, nay or yay who to vote for. We're just telling you to listen to your spirit. That is your compass. That is your God. Your spirit will tell you to walk down this way or vote for that one, don't vote for that one. But be in tune. And being in tune is to keep your mind and your spirit alive. And alive in the sense that being positive in your energy.
Yeah, let's not descend into toxic arguments and fighting and blaming and shaming over whatever a person's choice might be. Let's all be sovereign beings, take the steps that we believe to be the correct one, and respect each other for whatever choice that might be. Then, no party can come between the Black community.
It's true. And before we end, I just want to say to our community that sometimes we have heard that we came here in 1619. Family, that's not true. We have always been here in this American place. And when you dig down or dive down into the knowledge, you'll find it. We have always been here in America. 1619 is when they got that few slaves that they brought from Africa, but the slaves found us here as well. And they knew, people know that we were always here. And so when you dive down into history and dig down, you'll find that information. But this is your land, your home. Now walk in it, create in it, and be confident in it. God bless you, Community Cuts family and others throughout the world. We're here and we're asking you to continue to pray for our country, America. Continue to pray for your country, and let's pray for this world because we're going through some uncharted waters at this in this time. This whole paradigm is shifting, and we can feel it and we know it. So good night to you, and we thank you for joining us. We're asking you to subscribe to us, give us a thumbs up. Remember, it's all about love. It's all about love. Thank you, Community Cuts family. Good night.
Good night.
Before we we did say good night, but hold on, Catherine. 732 Washington Avenue. We're in this great Black establishment called Leahing, Salon Leahing, at 732 Washington Avenue between Prospect Place and Park Place. This establishment been here for at least 20 years. The owner is Winston. She's a Black woman that she's professional, and there's a lot of good energy that's here. We have others that work here as well, and the energy is just flowing with grace and love. So we ask you to, if you're from the Brooklyn area, and if you're going to be in the Brooklyn area, please stop by if you need professional work done in terms of styling your hair. It's here, 732 Washington Avenue, Brooklyn, New York. 732 Washington Avenue between Prospect Place and Park Place. Please stop by. God bless. Talk to you soon. Thank you.